A Heaven on Earth. Written by Barbara Cartland. Narrated by Anthony Wren. Chapter 1, 1877. "I think we are almost there. We've just turned off the road," Aurora cried, as the carriage swung to the right, lurching and swaying. "I know that bump in the drive so well. I thought Papa would have fixed it by now." She leapt up in her excitement and peered through the carriage window, but it was very steamed up on this icy December day, so she then pulled it open, and cold, foggy air came flooding in. "Ooh!" called out Phyllis, her maid, shivering as she huddled to the corner of the seat. "You'll surely freeze us both to death, Miss Aurora." Aurora laughed and pulled up the fur-lined hood of her cloak round her ears. "Just let me have the first glimpse of Hadleigh Hall, and then I'll shut the window," she replied, and leant out, looking longingly up the drive ahead of them. It was almost a mile from the road to the Hall, and the tall trees Aurora's great-grandfather had planted hid the rolling fields and moors from view. The carriage rolled swiftly forward, pulled by two powerful grey horses that raced on, eager to return to the stable for their tea-time feed. Aurora gasped in delight as a graceful deer flitted out from the trees and bounded across the drive. Then she felt her heart melt with joy as she saw the twinkling lights of Hadleigh Hall appear around the bend. The twisting chimneys and long sloping roof of the old building was silvery with frost, and the lights from the windows looked magical through the mist. "It's wonderful to be back," sighed Aurora, taking pity on Phyllis shutting the window. "I can't believe that I have been away for 4 whole months." "Oh, Miss Aurora," came in Phyllis, "I can't wait for a nice cup of tea after all that nasty French coffee." "I'm so sorry, Phyllis. I know how much you hated being stuck in France, but what would I have done at the finishing school without you?" She thought of the imposing square building on the Paris boulevard, with its endless polished floors and hard beds for the pupils, and the strict teachers who taught her so much about etiquette and manners. When Aurora had arrived in France, she spoke only a few words of the language, and she had to work so hard at her French, as well as her drawing and music, to satisfy the high standards of the finishing school. It had been such a comfort to have Phyllis with her to chat to in the mornings and after lights out. She did not have to struggle to explain to Phyllis about how she wanted her clothes and hair to look, as she would have had to do if she had been assigned one of the severe French maids who waited on the other girls. The carriage then came to a sudden stop, the wheels crunching over the gravel, and after a moment Thomas, the coachman, opened the door. Aurora pulled her long cloak around her, and taking Thomas's hand, swung herself down to the ground. "Merry Christmas!" She looked up to see Lady Hartnell, her stepmother, sweep gracefully down the front steps, her grey hair piled high on her head, and her purple silk skirts rustling. Aurora stood on tiptoe to kiss her stepmother, and as she did so, she could not but notice that the purple of her dress was a little too bright, and not quite what the elegant Frenchwomen she had been living with for the last months would have chosen. "Where is Papa?" inquired Aurora, as she followed Lady Hartnell into the marble-floored hall. "He is resting, my dear. He will see you when he comes down for dinner. Perhaps you should now go and freshen up. You have had a very long journey." She put on her pince-nez to scrutinize Aurora's face closely, making her feel uncomfortable, as she realized that her face must be red and shiny, and her hair a mess. Her bedroom was aglow with the light from the fire burning merrily in the grate, and candles casting a warm glow as they flickered on her dressing-table. As soon as the footman had put down her luggage, Aurora rang the bell for the kitchen-maid to bring her tea and toast. "I know it's not long for dinner, but I can't wait," Aurora muttered, as Phyllis helped her out of her cloak and dress, and sat her in front of the mirror to brush the tangles out of her long auburn hair. "Nor me, miss. I'm proper parched. My, look how long your hair has grown since we were last here." Aurora gazed at her reflection, and took in her thick auburn curls, framing her heart.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?